back to another episode of EETV, where I try to bring everything in entertainment. And today we will be speaking about X-Men Origins Blue with Nightcrawler. And yes, I am speaking about this because this is my favorite comic book character and my favorite X-Men. And I do think they could have done a better job. Now, because this story has Nightcrawler's parents being retconned, and now he has arguably two mothers instead of Azazel being his father that was retconned, and they just could have done a better idea. Now, because of the CCA and being over 40 years ago, there were certain things that were just not done in comic books. Yet, at the same time, I do think they could have come up with a better idea. It's been 4 decades. I know Cy Spurrier is writing this book along with the Uncanny Spider-Man, and I think they could have tapped Chris Claremont for another idea to see how they could spin this origin again, since, and I'm included in this, not everybody was so keen on Azazel being Nightcrawler's father. But the way that this was written, they have the characters contradict themselves. We have Raven Darkholme, Mystique, and you know that she's been around, and her longtime lover is Destiny, but they've been in an off and on relationship. And at the point of this story, when X-Men Origins Blue kicks off with Nightcrawler's origin, is that she's dating Baron Kristen Wagner at the time. And she hires Destiny as her maid so they can stay together and still hang out. And also at the same time, after Baron Wagner marries Mystique, Azazel appears on the scene and she has her fling with Azazel. So we come to find out that and we also found out that Destiny pushed Mystique to have that fling with Azazel, and we found out why. It's because that Destiny needed to have Azazel think that he got Mystique pregnant, that he had an heir, so he would focus on other things. So, and this was explained, the reason why this had to be done is because if he didn't think that he had an heir with Mystique, then he would focus on world domination completely. And Destiny had a vision that showed all of the X-Men, even if I remember correctly, Captain America was in that pile. And so along with Destiny and Cyclops and Wolverine, Captain America, they were all dead, and Azazel was sitting on his throne and conquered all because of what had to transpire, because he didn't focus on other things, because he didn't think that he got Mystique pregnant. But then here comes the contradiction. We know that Azazel's an immortal being, he's a demon, and he's concerned with things that immortals do. Do you really think an immortal being that's been alive for however long, Azazel, would be upset that one of his flings chose to broke it off with him? Because that's what this book did. Mystique recalls, and she recalls she finally got all her memories back because she touched Nightcrawler's Hope Sword, and the Hope Sword undid all the fogginess, and she was able to remember everything. And we find out also the reason why she lost all her memories in the first place is because her and Destiny went to Professor X to get their memories erased. But the thing is, Destiny got her memories erased, but Raven didn't want to have her memory completely erased. She wanted to remember that she had a son. She just wanted to forget all of her bad decision making that her and Destiny made. But Professor Charles Xavier warned her and said, if you don't get the memory completely erased and you have me do this editing cut to cut snip job, basically, that the mind may or may not fabricate a story to fill in the blanks, and that may be harsher than reality. And that's what she got. And then when she remembered everything, Then she blamed Charles Xavier for doing that to her, but she's the one, along with Destiny, that requested Charles Xavier's help to cover up their mistakes in the first place. That's the contradiction right there. Then not only that, then we find out the reason they had to put Nightcrawler through all this is because Nightcrawler would be the one who would constantly battle Azazel and stop him from taking over the world. So Nightcrawler had to be there to stop Azazel from taking over the world and killing everybody. So Nightcrawler got abandoned. And he got abandoned because Destiny, after Nightcrawler was born, they put down the facade. Mystique changed back into her original blue skin form so Kurt could see her as a baby, as how her true form. She wanted her son to see her how she really was, not all made up and being disguised. And she did that in front of the doctor. And since Azazel was there pulling on Baron Christian Wagner's ear, and it was all sort of stuff going on there, it didn't take much to get the townspeople riled up into an angry mob, and they went out there to the castle and they burned everything down. But Mystique was so worried about Destiny that she originally ran out with Nightcrawler, and Destiny said she'll be fine because she's seen it that she'll be fine. She put Nightcrawler at the stump of a tree, went back to get Destiny, but she wasn't there. And then she went back to the spot where Nightcrawler was, and he wasn't there. And then she had so much grief afterwards because her baby was gone. And we find out that Destiny knew all that was going to happen and knew that Mystique was going to come back for her. So she had set up to have that witch take Nightcrawler, and then he goes to the monastery, and he is raised the way he's raised. So basically, Nightcrawler had to have a messed up, everybody hates you because you look like the devil, you're going to HE double hockey stick upbringing in order for him to become this pure person that has so much conviction. And then he grows up being Catholic because of his adverse upbringing of him always being looked at and down upon. That had to transpire in order for him to be who he was today. And then Destiny finds Mystique 5 years later, and then we see little Rogue there playing on the playground because she ran away, and she convinces Mystique to help raise Rogue because all the pimps and the bad people are eyeing her, and we got to get her away from all these bad people before they do bad stuff for her and she grows up bad. But yet they got to leave Nightcrawler to the dogs because he has to be there and have that messed up upbringing, so we would have endless hope so he could battle Azazel and keep Azazel from taking over the world. So that's why. And then at one point, halfway through the book, she tells Nightcrawler that she would rather or was hoping for a daughter, and then she completely contradicts herself at the end when she falls into his arms crying, was like, well, my son, I love you, and but you said you wanted a daughter, so what is it? Did you really want the daughter, or or do you hate Nightcrawler? But you were the one who left him there to run back to check on Destiny, and it finds out there was this whole big so you see all that. So and that's what's like. It's not the fact that he has two mothers. It's not. It's all this other stuff. It's like, yo, you fed him the crappy end of the stick. Now, granted, there are heroes that would always had a messed up upbringing. Of course, Batman with his parents being killed for him, and of course, if you want to stick to Marvel, Peter Parker with Uncle Ben. And then even if you want to stick with X-Men, you could have the messed up upbringing that Cyclops and Havoc had. And it's like, dude, you can't tell me the only reason why you bought him Now, this shows how messed up this is, because it's like like they were talking about having a family, then they had the family, and then the only reason Mystique wanted to have the family, well, Destiny wanted to have the family too, but Mystique definitely was looking forward to it, to go to the next level. But here we go. We didn't find out the reason Destiny did it is because it was some big elaborate plan to keep evil at bay. And, and it's like, okay, you really gave Nightcrawler the really short end of the stick. And yes, this was Claremont's original idea, but you tell me you couldn't hire him and have him do some other things to kind of clean this up, so to say. Like, and what I mean by clean it up, like make it better. Make it better. And don't tell me you didn't have the time, because you had him write Gambit all over again like a year or two ago, and you could have had him do this too, but you didn't. So it's like, oh gosh. So that's what that book was like. And then Mystique and Nightcrawler walk off in Central Park while the sun's rising, and it's like, all right, man, this whole Fall of X thing, man, nah. And the only reason why I bought this is because I actually was given the chance, and I wanted to see what Cy Spurrier was going to do. But then we all know it's not even his complete idea. So I wonder what parts did they have him write and which parts was actually Chris Claremont's idea. Now, we already know the part of having Nightcrawler having him and Destiny as his parents was Claremont's idea, but I want to know how much more after that was Claremont's idea and how much is it's Cy Spurrier's idea. And also, was the Cy Spurrier actually come up with something different or something that could plug into this, and Marvel said no, do it this way? Man, that's what I want to know. That's why I'm not completely saying what the heck is he doing, because I don't know if they told him to do this, or whether if any of this was any of his ideas, or if this was just 100% Claremont, or maybe 90% and Cy Spurrier added 10. I don't know. But I mean, they could have did so much more. I mean, they attempted to, but the thing is you know who Azazel is, and now you reduce an immortal demon to a sniveling child that gets upset because somebody broke up with him. Azazel wouldn't care if one of his flings didn't want to mess with him anymore. He's immortal. He just seen them things as playthings and was just trying to get all his children together for that takeover they did back a couple years back. I remember that. And come on now, you think he would be upset if one of them got hit by a car after they got pregnant, or no, he wouldn't, because he's evil. You telling me he would be upset because Mystique said he was even sobbing in between yelling at her because she broke it off? Like, nah, dude, nah. And then Destiny wanting to, and then that's what even makes it even worse, because it's like, dude, Destiny chose to completely forget about it. Like, she don't want nothing to do with Nightcrawler, even though you the one that carried him. And it's like, damn. It's like, and then another thing is, and this is confirmed through a letter with Dr. Nemesis halfway through the book too, that through analysis of genetic samples that they have on Mystique, that she does more than shapeshift. And the only reason why Dr. Nemesis didn't include her in an Omega mutant level is because she can't also shapeshift the X gene. And that was how it was always been, since she first appeared in Ms. Marvel back in 1978, that she could shapeshift and she could mimic people's voices and shapes and all like that. but she could not use their powers. So, but the way Dr. Nemesis was explaining this thing in the letter is that, you know, they had genetic samples from her, and through the studying of those genetic samples, that she is not just a shapeshifter, she's more like a gene shaper, which means she cannot only copy the genetics of someone, she can even improve on them. So hence, that's why she was able to so and so impregnate Destiny, because she can manipulate all of her nucleus, every single last cell, and she's a gene shaper. And that's why she was able to do that. And it was also explained the reason why that Nightcrawler is similar in appearance to Azazel, with the exception of the skin being blue like Mystique's, is because since her and Azazel had a physical relationship, that she took some of his DNA and combined it with hers, and through gene shaping and then through physical contact, and I'm not going to go into any more than just explaining physical contact because this is a YouTube channel, that they were able to make a child. And that's why the child has some powers that would be seen in other offsprings of Azazel, because even though he is not the father, he is somewhat the father. It's weird, and it's like, damn, it's like, gosh, all right, so you're saying Azazel's not the father, and I understand why they didn't want to go with that, because not everybody enjoyed that, and I'm including with it, but she used some of his DNA, I guess, to fill in the gaps. I don't know what the heck, I mean, but oh gosh. And the way this is explained in one page, it didn't give any indication that Mystique was like, all right, I want my possible child to have a set of powers and be able to protect him or herself. So I might want to use different DNAs from here to create the super baby. No, she didn't do that. You know, they were just talking intimately. They said, let's have a child, and they went about having one. But yet he has a little bit of Azazel's DNA, even though Azazel's not the actual father. Mystique is the father, and now Destiny's the mother. So it was like, okay. So, I mean, if you really, I mean, I know this is Claremont's idea, but if you really want to look at it, since Azazel's not the father, I guess he's like the quarter father. So, if anything, I mean, if you're anything, Nightcrawler really has three parents. Even though they're discrediting Azazel with this new retcon, even though they're discrediting him, it's some of his DNA that was using in it. So that would technically count if you're going with science, even this pseudoscience this Marvel's trying to pass over. So really, Nightcrawler has three parents, not two. He has three. Even though you're saying Azazel was not his dad. So it's like, okay. And that's why it's just like, huh? Like, you're saying that was no good, and then you retell the story all over again. And you just, like, that you could have cleaned it up better than that. And I understand, if you wanted to still have Claremont's original idea, fine. But the way about Mystique went about doing things, and the way Destiny went about doing things, and how they explained everything, they could have done it better in that part. It's not the fact that he has two mothers. Wait, no. Please. No. It's just that you had the characters contradict themselves over again and then blame people that they asked for help in the first place. And it's like, dude, it's like nobody learned nothing. It's like, and then on top of that, I mean, can I just say this? I know this video's long, but can I just say this? Who the heck leaves a newborn alone in the woods so they go check up on their lover, even though they're gonna be back in 5 minutes. Who the heck does that? I'm like, okay, that was a bad parenting choice. That was a bad. I don't care who you are. That's a bad parent. You do not leave someone that was born 5 seconds ago, because that literally what happened. He was born and they were chilling, and then the doctor and the nurse told everybody, it was ladies, blue lady there, they must be demons, we gotta kill them. And then they got the mob together and they went up there, tried to burn down the Baron Vagnal's house. And then like Nightcrawler was only a couple hours old, and you just leave them wrapped up in a blanket sitting on the grass by a damn tree stump. What the hell, man? I'm like, the only good thing that came out of this was the fact that you can definitely say, out of all the comic book characters, Nightcrawler has one of the harshest upbringings now that this thing has been retconned yet again. Also, your dad's a demon, but now he's kind of my quarter dad. I got some of his DNA, but he's not mine. And then my mom left him in the dump of the tree after 5 minutes ago after I was born, because she's about to be taken out by a mob who wanted to kill her because they thought she was a demon. And then I found out that wasn't my mom. My mom's actually my father. And that my mom wants nothing to do with me because she's using me as a plot device to defeat all evil, because she's responsible for seeing the future, and she wanted to stop the one that's my quarter dad, which is Azazel. So he had me being born into this world to stop him and counter them, and I had to live the most harshest in 6-letter alphabet upbringings in order to have the character, to grow up with the character, so I can be devoutly Catholic and look for all the good in the world, so I can constantly defend against this evil. Yet at this time, anybody, well, you can't even say that. So you can't even say they should have came back and told him at the time, because all the memories are all googly bop by Professor X. But then they asked Professor X to do that, so you can't blame him. But yet they do blame him. And then on top of all of that, then Destiny still doesn't know. And I guess they'll have that worked out later on. And I guess Nightcrawler, he forgave Mystique. But the thing is, oh yeah, and also one more thing too. You would have thought Professor X would have told Nightcrawler. No, he didn't tell Nightcrawler. And the reason why Professor X didn't tell Nightcrawler, because even he thought this situation was so messed up that he said, of course, I'm going to write my own mind of these memories as well, so we can't visit this all over again. So he don't even know, because he pushed Control-Alt-Delete. My gosh, this video is a half hour long, but I had to speak on this because Kurt Wagner's my favorite darn character. And once again, it's not the fact that it's LGBTQ. It's the fact you heard all this stuff that I explained. It was messy. Messy writing. Now, how much of this is Cy Spurrier's fault? I couldn't even tell you, man, because they're redoing Claremont's idea. So I don't know how much did he have to clean up. Did he have to fill in some gaps? I don't know. But the fact is that they could have done a better job with this. And I'm not even talking about the fact of changing the whole thing. They could have even done a better job with this by keeping Claremont's original idea of him having Destiny as his mother and arguably Mystique as his father that can switch and take female form because of gene shaping, I'm sorry. But you could have cleaned that up a lot better. It's like, my gosh, it was like the thing was so hot that nobody wanted to touch it. But it's like, no, it was controversial with the CCA, but then again, it was still controversial inside of the in-book universe for Marvel, because it was so controversial that Professor X even had to wipe his own memory from it and didn't want to touch this hot button issue. It's like, what? Oh gosh. I hope someone interviews both Cy Spurrier and Chris Claremont first and find out, just to talk to him to see how he would have wrote this whole thing, given what the same subject is, and to see how he would have done it step by step. because this is, I can speculate this. The reason why it was so messy is because he probably had a outline and then they shot it down, so he probably didn't even get to finish it. So it was probably an unfinished idea, and basically Side Spur is probably just filling in the blanks. And if this is true, you can see it, because it's like it starts off kind of stable, and then it just goes, I can't even say go left. Now I'm not gonna say left. It goes to Krakoa. Let's just say that it goes to Krakoa. It doesn't go left. It goes to Krakoa. So now that I finished this half-hour rant of what I thought about all this, oh my goodness, tell me what you think about all this, man. It's the messy storytelling, and it's, oh my gosh, man. Whatever, man. Like, dude, because how are you expecting people to be invested in this thing if every time things don't go your way, you keep pushing the reset button? Instead of pushing the reset button, why don't you just make it better? But no, you just keep pushing. All right, Danny, we're going to reset it again. Let's do another first issue again. It didn't work. Let's do another first issue again. Let's test the waters. Let's test the waters by putting a 5-issue miniseries out there. If that goes okay, then we'll roll out the other one. If that don't, with the big one doesn't roll out, then we'll push the reset and do first issue all over again. And it's like, look, there's no continuity. It's like, why should I even bother to read it if you're just going to reset the button after 5 months? So I get a little self-contained story, and then I get to push a reset button, and then it's some other writer's take on the character, and they may or may not have the same power set, may or may not look the same. Whoever feels like writing everything the way it's done. And like, share, and subscribe if you feel like. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody.